WHBC. Oh, it is a Wednesday morning, and that means time for our weekly visit with Dr. Stan Anderson. Good morning, Dr. Stan.
Hey, Pam. Great to talk to you.
You too. Glad to hear your voice, meaning I'm safe and sound with both feet planted back in the good old USA.
Well, when you were in Ireland, I kept thinking, all right, what are the advances that came from Ireland? And that was what I wanted to talk about today, because it was about 60 years ago that this unit that was launched under the name Heart Aid was made by Frank Pantridge in Belfast. And basically what he did was he came up with the very first automatic public use defibrillator produced by the Cardiac Resuscitation Company. And so basically what that did was that allowed people to basically help people that were dying. So when you're doing CPR and the heart is flat, this basically allows you to help people with ventricular fibrillation or with flatline to basically bring them back to life. And this was a major advance that all came from Ireland. So just wanted you to know that since you were visiting in Ireland, that this was something that came from Ireland, and it has had an impact on millions of people. Just one of the interesting things.
Well, and thank you for that, because they're very proud of all of the things that they have, set forth in Ireland. For sure, it was a beautiful trip. But when you were talking about that, it makes me think about how we have them in gymnasiums now, and at sporting events and things like that. But I would imagine there are still people out there who would be afraid to go and use one if they, were in that situation to try and help someone.
Yeah, and everybody is afraid when it's an emergency. Mm-hmm. The emergency use is something that really scares a lot of people. You don't do it regularly. So it is something that, it's not part of your routine. But the real issue is every 911, every ambulance now carries one. So it is something that is available. You will see them at community places. Almost every church has one now. Doctors' offices, they all have them in case there's an emergency. So part of it is when your heart starts to do something that is really, really bad, and you pass out, and you're doing CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and you end up finding that they're flat or that they're in ventricular fibrillation, this is something that is very simple. Most of the machines, it's basically click and go. And the biggest thing is you want to make sure nobody is touching the person, because the electricity can be quite shocking for so make sure that no one else is touching that person when you do the shock. But the biggest thing is it really does have a huge impact in helping people to get their rhythm back or to restart the heart. It started about 125 years ago. That was the very first time that anybody ever tried anything. They ended up doing it on dogs, and they found that when they shocked dogs' hearts, they could change their rhythm. So this is something that's only been around for around 125 years. In humans, it's only been used for the past, back since the 30s, but it really became available widespread because of the inventions in Ireland from Frank Pantridge. So just a major advance that they made because of that. And this really does have a huge impact. So it makes a big difference in bringing people back to life on their way to the emergency department.
And I would ask you two things. First of all, is there a way to get trained to use it just ahead of time so you're familiar?
Yeah, so almost every place does have options for teaching you how to use the device, the automated external defibrillator device. That's something that you can contact your healthcare provider to find out where you would go to do that. Almost every hospital ends up having different classes that teach you that. There's So in other words, it's something, if you Google it and you want to learn how to do that, there are different classes, there are different things. And in our office, for instance, when we purchased ours, it was basically, they showed us how to do it. Took about 45 minutes, and it was a pretty interesting thing so that everybody felt comfortable with doing it. That's the most important thing.
Right. And that was my next question too, because I'm thinking about even people, who learn CPR, judging when it's time to use it. That would be for me a hard thing, right?
Yeah, well, part of it is the newer ones now, they're so simple to use. You put the paddles on, and it basically tells you whether or not there's a rhythm. And so it tells you shock or no shock.
Okay.
And if it tells you shock, you do it, and it really is amazing. It's remarkable. But again, this should always be done in the context of somebody having called 911 in order to have the ambulance be coming on their way. And it's really, really simple.
Yeah, that's great. That's a lot of great information, Dr. Stan, because I know people think about that all the time. So I appreciate
Yeah.
all the info, sir, and glad to be back
welcome
with you.
back.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back. It was a wonderful trip. It was magical. Definitely a place to go if you haven't been. Certainly is a wonderful, wonderful country to see.
I'm so glad you were able to do that.
All right. You have a wonderful week, sir, and we'll chat next Wednesday.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Pam.
On the battlefield, there's a saying: America's military men and women live